Hello YouTube, Old Rusty here again today to bring you terrible tutorial 4 or 5, who cares, they're awful, they're terrible, and this is what you're going to get. So as requested, we're going to go over my Shroomlight farm, and more specifically how to build it. If you're wanting some highly edited and polished video, good luck. Maybe you'll get one day. Today's not this day, but if you want Shroomlights, then my ranting as we build this together is not going to stop you. I still have a world download available on Discord. So, let's get into this. So, this farm, this is the most important thing. It has to be height aligned at world height. We are using world height as a mechanic to get rates of a shulker of Shroomlights an hour. If you don't want to build at world height, you're not going to get a shulker of Shroomlights an hour. You'll get around 1,300 Shroomlights an hour, but I want 17. And if you're going to go to the trouble of getting this many Shroomlights, go all out. So at the very start, you can use Warped or Crimson Nylium, depending on if you want to go with Warped or Crimson Wood. And Wart Blocks. Crimson Wart Blocks have some spawning suppression mechanics in the Nether that are useful. I personally prefer Warped because it doesn't make me want to vomit. But today we're going to go over this. So, very first thing, before you do anything else, up at world height, you need to be standing on 303 for where you're going to plant your fungus. And we're just going to start right here so we mark this out. So this way, your fungus is at 304. And that matters so much for the rest of this. So, go to world height. Get your block set down for where you're going to plant Nylium. You're standing on top of it. That is 303. Not 302, not 304, 303 for the best rates. And we're going to go from there. So obviously the first thing you always want to worry about, pick a direction. Up here, I guess it really doesn't matter, does it? We're going to build the Netherrack regeneration farm by Groove a Guy, which means that we are going to sit here and place that, get your fungus down, do a glass block underneath it, the other Nylium, so that we can regenerate. From there, you're going to want to have an observer facing into that. And then 2 solid blocks like this. We'll get to the why in a second here. You're going to want to put down a temporary block. Coming into the bottom of that, you're going to want a dispenser. Throw some bone meal in it. We'll get back to that. You can get rid of these bottom blocks, by the way. You don't need this. Yeah, you need one here. And what we're going to have here is a comparator going into that dispenser. And from there, all you really got to do is down one more. You want a dropper with exactly 1 item in it. So I'm going to use a Sculpt Catalyst. And you want a hopper going into the back of that, feeding into it, and then another 3 hoppers forming a closed loop like that. This is the Netherrack regeneration system completely done. Almost. I forgot one thing. You want to have a little staircase of glass with redstone so that when there's any change in this piece of Nylium, that observer will detect it. It will activate your dropper, which is going to send the item up, activating the comparator, triggering the dispenser, and then your item will just return back to the dropper and the system resets. And since I already loaded bone and mill into it, at this point, before you do anything else, check and make sure it works. Yep, we're good. There, automatically regenerates. This is going to be the center of your farm where you plant everything. So again, this Nylium right here, when you're standing on it, has to be 303. From there, we're just going to get out all the stuff we need here, and we're going to get our pistons and sticky pistons laid out. You want 1 piston right here. Not on this side where it's going to get activated by this observer. Right here on top of this glass block. From there, you're going to want to count up 3. I'm sorry, like that. And what you're going to want to do is a dispenser facing down, and then another one facing this side. So again, we're going to use this spot right here where this redstone is as part of our AFK position. And you're going to, where you're going to plant the fungus. You want a dispenser here and here, both facing in. Now, I'm going to use glass blocks for a lot of this, just because I like the way that it looks. You're going to want to come out, come back, and set up a comparator clock. Put a comparator down, make it so the orange bulb was lit, and then run redstone. Nope, you know what? I already messed that part up. You're going to want a redstone. Let's test it first with a lever. Comparator clock. We're good. Now, you're going to want to be able to trigger this thing, so we're going to utilize some solid blocks here. Specifically, you're going to want it to be come out here, up, and then here. What this is going to do is this, whenever this is activated, it's going to trigger both of these two dispensers here, but not lock up any hoppers. Because when you're doing all this, this thing goes through 101 stacks of bone meal an hour. You're going to want to come out with some hoppers and just have it running like this. Now from here, we can work this back. I have 2 double chests feeding into this whole system. But we'll just signify this with one. Handle the storage how you want. This is so that you can remotely feed these 2 dispensers full of bone meal, because what's not going to happen is they are not going to stay full for long. You need to have a pretty big buffer of bone meal in this system. Again, it's going to use 101 stacks an hour. I broke something. Let's put that back. So, this is where we're at so far. Netherrack regeneration system. Coming out on the side where we have our redstone, it's going to be our AFK right here. A dispenser above the planting nylium and to the side. A piston in the back. A comparator clock set up like this so that we're good. That's going to trigger both. And then off to the other side, some hoppers to feed in a chest. Add as much extra storage as you want to at this point for your bone meal. You're going to need a lot. And then from here, we're going to toss down another glass block right here. And what you're going to want to do is put down a comparator. The reason for this is really simple. As that tree grows, it will become a log. This comparator will read through the bone meal level in this dispenser, triggering the rest of the system. From here, you're going to want to do a couple things. Into that solid block, you're going to want right here, put a dropper down. The purpose of this dropper is to feed you fungus whenever the system fires off. Again, you're going to use 45 stacks of this, so I suggest coming out and then putting in at least 1 double chest. More would be better. So when this comparator fires, it's going to send a redstone signal into this solid block that will trigger this dropper. What we're also going to do is come out over here, place down a repeater. That repeater is going to go into another solid block. And then what we're also going to do is put this repeater right here, set it to 3, not 4, not 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 tick. 1 tick, 3 tick. Drop a redstone dust. This is going to activate this piston right here and hold it out long enough so the rest of our system we're about to build up will be just fine and running. So now that we've got all that, let's get in eventually we're going to connect this simple little redstone right here. It's going to trigger everything. We're going to connect to that once we do that, once we get going. I suggest cover all these droppers up with solid blocks. And from here, we're just going to, this is layer 3. We're going to want layer 4. So what that means is you're going to want to take your pistons up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do the same on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Get these pistons. you're going to want to drop a solid block every other one. And then toss some redstone on that. Glass blocks coming out of every one of these. And then you're going to want to glass elevator it up. So what you want to see is this zigzag pattern going. Cover it all in redstone. Now, as we do these glass elevators, remember, this fungus tree is going to grow everywhere when you grow it. So at the top of every one of these, wherever you're moving any kind of redstone up or down via glass, put an additional glass block at the very top, even though nothing's going on it, to prevent a wart block from growing right in this very spot, cutting off your redstone signal. You want to put a piece of redstone dust right on this. We are gonna, well, we'll get back to this. All right, so this is set up. Now, this is covering our 4 corners, our 2 front corners, right? We're planting here, which means shroomlights are going to grow here and here, along with wart blocks and the occasional stem, and we're going to push those out. Then what we're going to want is we need to get these back corners moved out. Now, to do that, we're going to come out. And you're going to want sticky pistons. Nope, one more. You're going to want sticky pistons here. And what this is going to do is when this is offset, when the system's activated, it's going to be extended like this. So anytime a shroomlight or any other wart block will spawn in right here, it's going to do that. So take your sticky pistons, offset by 2, because we're going to have these powered almost all the time, and go up by 10. Like that. And then you also are going to want to place a normal piston right here, offset 2, 3, and take it all the way up. You're going to want to mirror this on the other side. So we're going to come out. The wart block will grow right here. We're going to want to grab it, so we need to come out. See how easy that is to mess up? Nope. You really want to make sure that you have these sticky pistons in the right place, because the sticky pistons are essential. And take it up by 10. Building this at world height, you're going to fall a lot. Accept it. And then also with the pistons here, all going in the same direction. So right now, this is what we're looking at. The shroomlights are going to most likely grow in the 4 corner spots around that center stem. This is our center stem. Am I offset? I am. I already messed it up. Well, we'll fix it. All right, so shroomlights are going to grow. They're going to grow here, here, and then as well as here. So yeah, I'm offset by 1 here, so we'll fix this real quick. Well, I'll just delete my mistake. There will, you know, I could edit this out, but I refuse because I don't edit. So, make sure you got that right. Yep, see how I'm off by 1? Once you get those first pistons lined up, it'll be a lot easier. Glad I did not install that redstone. Ignore that skulk down there at the bottom of the world. I was playing around with converting basalt to skulk. All right, so this is where we want to look at. So every time a shroomlight grows, this is our center stem right here. The shroomlights were the only places we're going to have available for any growth to occur are going to be in these 4 spots. All right. Now that that's correct, what we're going to do now is you're going to come around, and then every other block for all of these pistons, you're going to have a solid block, just like we did these forward-facing pistons. The solid block is to help convey the redstone signal to both sets of pistons. And then once you have that, you're going to come through with your glass. At the end of every one of these blocks, a glass block. And then you're going to zipper it up. Put redstone dust on everything. And then again, remember, on this last place, put that there. At this very bottom block, when it comes out, you are going to drop down a redstone block. And this is the resting position of the system. So we'll do the same thing on the other side, or wire it all up into one big spaghetti as you want. And then we're going to glass it up. Remember to leave this one extra block here so you don't cut off your redstone. I always forget to do this every single time. When I built this in survival, I forgot this a bunch. And I didn't understand why aren't my pistons fired. Oh, because I forgot a thing. And then again, redstone block right there. This redstone block is so that it will permanently power these sticky pistons to be out. From there, you're going to wire up these on the back, same way as before. Do a glass elevator. So we'll just zip through this real quick. You want this zigzag pattern so that you can run everything up. And then cover it in redstone dust. Do not, again, forget these glass blocks. So we'll knock all these out. All right, this is most of our redstone dust is now done. This is the wiring. Now we just have to put this into the triggering system. So the easiest thing to do for that, because you are really pushing the edge here, is just drop a lever on top of this block and turn it on. Now from there, we're going to want to work this up. So we're going to drop a redstone dust, come out. First thing you want to do is hook this up. Verify that it's making it all the way up. So see, we just get it. That is pretty much the limit of that 15 block. Now, since you're moving, make sure that you put a glass block above here and here so that none of this gets cut off. Now, down here, what you're going to want to do is we need to put a sticky piston in, but we want a solid block so that it'll reach all the way like it's supposed to. Get our glass, get this back out. So on this redstone block, what you really want sitting on top of it is a sticky piston. We'll do this on both sides real quick. So that when the farm activates, it will shut that off. Now, just like we came around here, what we're going to want to do is take this same signal, pull it this way, and then cover all this in redstone, and this will just reach. Put a glass block there so it doesn't get cut off. And if you look now, as the farm is firing, those sticky pistons will retract. Same thing over here. You can knock out those extra blocks if you want. I like the way that this looks. Now it's connected. And then drop a glass block right here. And then this one piece is going to cover all that, and we reach out. So right now, as our system fires, this is what it initially does. Now, this will move the block from this space to this space. Now we need to fire off these pistons in a way that won't damage the rest of the farm. And that is real easy to do. Because you're going to come out and just make an L. On this L, you are going to want to put right here, drop an observer. I forgot to grab the redstone lamp. You're going to want to put a redstone lamp in front of that observer. And then run it like that. Same thing on this other side. At the bottom where it juts out. Sit here and run it across. Redstone dust all this. Now, because you're not moving things vertically, you don't have to worry about it getting cut off by wart block growth. And that's it. So then, as we shut this farm off, this is what your farm will look like when it's in the off position. These redstone lamps will be lit. These sticky pistons will be extended. And everything else will be closed. What this does is as soon as this piston here, sticky piston, gets activated, it pushes this redstone block up. That's going to shut off your sticky pistons, walls, pull them in. One tick later, it's going to shut off the redstone lamp. The observer is going to detect that, and then that one tick delay, so this is a total of 2 tick delays. It's then going to activate this piston for 1 pulse and push it out. So that gives enough time for this sticky piston to retract. 2 game ticks later, this one will fire and push out, at which point the entire system will reset. The sticky pistons will extend again, and while all this is going on, in the same tick that these sticky pistons extend again, the piston down here that is driving all of this will clear this stem block out because of this delay, push it out, and then allow you to plant another fungus. Meanwhile, every single time it fires, this one right here is going to shoot you another fungus. We've already seen that it works. Now, from here, obviously, this isn't going to work. Actually, it will, because this piston's considered non-solid. So you can feed in your bone meal here, and you can feed in your, I suggest at least 1 double chest of fungus here that'll go to this dropper so that you can just keep holding down that button. On my Xbox controller, I just use a rubber band as a cheap auto clicker, because as long as I'm not changing or moving, it will just let me keep planting here every single time as if I was running along a big old stream of warped nylium just to plant. Now, from here, it does help to, we're going to go ahead and turn the farm on, and we're going to run it some. Make sure that everything is working, and if you look up, it is. And we're going to grow it out until we hit the growth limit. Oh, and that's it. That's the growth limit right there. Another good thing to do here is as you're doing all of this, these are going to grow all over the place. A real easy way to prevent that from happening is to just drop in some buttons and carpets. We're going to use blue. What you don't want to do is anything like put something down here. I have found that nothing ever really grows in this spot, but if you want to, toss a carpet right here. Don't push a button, because then it's going to redirect your redstone lines. But for a lot of these other places, you can put one there, so nothing's going to grow on you. The hopper's going to, and then meanwhile, it's just going to keep throwing you fungus every growth. Now, if we come up top, we're going to notice this kind of is getting cut off some. As you grow more and more, it is going to fill up. I suggest that you take wart blocks, glass blocks, and run them all around your piston area here. One, because it makes it easier to troubleshoot. So if you have any issues as you're initially getting this farm going. And the other reason, take it up 3. It looks good. It keeps it a little cleaner. And you can make sure that nothing is ever growing where it shouldn't, because the wart blocks will grow here. These glass blocks aren't going to get in the way of anything. It looks cleaner. And you can also sit down, stand on top of here, and troubleshoot your farm. And if you look, I just grew that 12 times, and all 4 of these spaces are clear, which is what you want. Now, you can already see it's starting to push out. And this is what we want. These 4 spots, we're going to be able to grow them rapidly. Make sure nothing else is in there. So, from here, we're going to want to take care of some things before we get our overall blast chamber done. This is the block 12. So, because we're only going to be firing this farm off a couple of times, every 8 times, we need to do something about this. And this presents a little bit of a problem. Because of this stem, we need to kind of play with this a little bit. So we're going to move it around. This one's, what you want to do is come out. You want this. You're going to place a redstone torch underneath this, and then run a little bit of redstone dust, like that. So every time a log comes here, it's going to push it over. Then you're going to want to fill it up some more. Find that spot where it stops. Good. We're good on that. At this point, to keep things simple, what I suggest you do is we're going to go ahead and get the floor of our packed ice, our packed ice floor for our item collection going. We're going to base everything around this area right here, and we're going to come out 2, 3, 4 on both sides. And we're going to fill this in. This will all make sense in a minute. So, for now, the way this is going to work is this is going to be our ice platform. We're going to eventually put water in this so that we can move all of our items. Now, you want it 9 across and 8 deep. 1, 2, from the center corner right here, you want this to be the 8th block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So an 8 by 9 or a 9 by 8, however you want to call that. Now, what's going to happen, this is going to move out our blocks. You know what? I was wrong. Here. You want this one too, because you want to cover this up. Then what we're going to do is 3 spaces after this, because the way this is going to work, we're going to have our obsidian ultimately lining everything. We're going to want this to come out 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to push it up. So we'll get rid of these blocks we're using. All right. So from here, we're going to want to be able to activate this whenever, but we can't do the redstone. We can't do the redstone torch trick like we did over there. This is really simple. On this piston, you're going to want to right like this. You're going to drop down a redstone torch and then a repeater. This repeater is always going to be powered, and then you're going to have the space like this. As your stem flows in, it'll push it up. Watch. It won't actually plant that fast. You know what? I'm thinking about the one up top. You want this over one. Redstone torch, repeater, piston, and this. And it'll do that. There we go. Notice it's climbing up. And then we're at the top. Now we're at 316, which is exactly where we're growing. So right here, what you're going to want to do is have 3 pistons. So when you stand on top of these 3 pistons, you should be at 316 on the same level as those over there, which is the top row that you're harvesting. These 3 pistons are going to push all this wood back in here. Now, this is where you want to have a solid block. And you want an elevator, a glass like this up for your redstone signal. Here, actually here, you're going to place a torch. Nope, one down. Here you're going to place a torch. On that second one, a repeater. And then you're going to have this right here. And take that dust. Like that. But I'm cutting this off. Then I'm cutting this off. My bad. Yeah, I was right the first time. So you're going to want glass, redstone dust. You're going to have it coming up here, extend it out of this piston so that you get this. It's going to, every time you get 3 logs in here, it's going to shove them over. This is to feed. The whole point of all of this is so that we get our warp blocks, our warp stibs, fed up, pushed all the way over, pushed up, and then congregated into a block piston of 3 and pushed out. From here, you're going to want to line your entire platform of packed ice with obsidian. And you're going to want to take it up to 317. And it's a lot of obsidian, but the point of this is so that when we're sitting here exploding our TNT, we catch all the items that we want. We're not busting holes in anything. Now, the packed ice at the bottom is going to be safe because it's going to be completely covered in water. And this is essentially the blast chamber. I suggest if you're building this farm, you're probably end game, I'm assuming. Go mine down the obsidian pillars on the mainland island, or if you really want to just go collect this some other way. However, it is a decent amount of obsidian you need. Make sure that you leave room for your logs to come in. And then take the rest up. And we're just going to encase this whole thing. I would fast forward on this, but I can't. So while we're doing this, why would you build this farm? Because you like Shroomlights. You want to shulker over an hour. The rates as advertised, it is going to consume 101 stacks of bone meal an hour. It's going to go through 45 fungus an hour as well that you're planting, and 9 stacks of TNT. The TNT is probably the most annoying part about all And that is with firing this farm off only once every 8 growths, which is pretty good, I think. Almost done with this obsidian. So we're going to go take this up. No, we'll get back to that. Encase this whole thing in obsidian. You could use crying obsidian. If you have this much ancient debris, you can do that as well. Anything that's going to be blast resistant to TNT. Because you do not want any holes punched in this thing, so then the precious Shroomlights can escape. And the reason why I haven't filled in this center yet, we'll get to that. Alright. And then we can also bring this around here. Now we're going to fill in this center space right here. You're going to want to knock out this at the edge of that ice sheet. And you're going to want to run obsidian up. Like that. We're going to cut that in half. Knock out this extra growth. Do the same thing on both sides. So there are no holes. The other reason you want obsidian here is you don't want the tree growing in these spots, and then having a little platform where something can land like that. Alright, we're good. And then of course here, because we don't want to blow our glass out. Now on this spot, this extra little bit right here, you're going to want to put down 2 more packed ice. Let's just get this out of the way for now. On top of that packed ice, any slab of your choice will do. We will simply go with smooth for now. And you're going to want to put down a lower slab here and here. Again, that's my first piston. So here, slab, and slab. From there, with all this, water logging is incredibly easy. You can use ice or buckets of water. On this side, have one every single spot. So it's flowing over like that. Each one of these 4 slabs, waterlog them. We'll just put something here for now. Waterlog this. And then one more right in this corner. And that is going to push everything right into this spot. From here, ultimately what we're going to do is we're going to take our packed ice. We're going to run it out for item collection, however you deem fit. This is also going to be waterlogged right here. And then this is the output of the farm. From here, you're going to want to loop this around however you want, have it go into a hopper system. Well, not a hopper system. You're going to want to filter out your wart blocks and then compost those, your Shroomlights and your stems. It's all going to get flushed out this way. This is the basis of the farm right here. Everything is going to come in, drop down, get blown up, and that's it. So, now, find your center right here, and you are going to want to, this is our first layer of Shroomlights that can grow. And then layer 1, layer 10 up top. From the top, you want to count up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 6th block right here. You're going to want to mark that out, and then have a piece of obsidian right here. 1 block offset from the very end. And then at layer 1, from here, come down. You're going to want to go over, have a block space between, and then come down for your other piece of obsidian so that it is at the first layer. When we fire our TNT, one's going to land here and blow out our bottom area. The other one is going to land up here, take out the entire top area, and these trees coming over. That's important. Now that we've got that lined up, we're going to come up to where world height is. Right below world height, you're going to want to drop a piece of obsidian on all sides. Like this, except I'm off by 1. So what you're going to want to do is put a dispenser in this spot. And in this spot. Oh. So when it fires, it's going to push this out. They're both going to get corralled into their drop chutes and land where they're supposed to. I like doubling this up to be extra safe so that I protect my poor dispensers here and don't send TNT flying all over the place. So ultimately, you're going to want like that. When you're standing on top of your dispensers, it's 319. So your dispensers are placed on 318 on top of an obsidian block and then have these doubled up. From here, have a solid block, and you're just going to come on all the way out like this. You are going to run your redstone and make a bridge of obsidian, run it out like that. This is where we're going to launch our TNT out of. You're going to take off of this feed right here. And you are going to bridge up from here again, so that you're running this redstone line down below and on to the side, because you don't want any of the TNT to destroy any of this infrastructure. And what you're going to do is take a comparator, pop it down, put a copper bulb, fill all this out. So you're going to have a series of 3 copper bulb, waxed copper bulb, comparator, 3 times over. And you are going to, there you go, feed that up. Make sure you put glass on every one of these risers, so you don't have any issues. You're never going to get a growth over here, so it doesn't matter. And you're going to have your TNT fed into both of these. So let's grab some TNT. Always do an op test. And then already it just goes and gets funneled in, and it's going to come out here. This is done. This is the farm. So during each activation cycle, to run you through this, because this is already getting long, let's put that there there for now. During each activation cycle, we will grow a fungus. It will then read the dispenser through the stem that gets generated. This comparator will activate both my dropper as well as this repeater right here. This repeater is going to power this block, which is going to power the redstone on top. It is going to go and cycle this entire farm one time so that it clears these 4 corner spots and pushes out the spaces, and then resets. At the same time, it's going to activate this piston right here on a 3-tick delay, and so that this piston will extend and contract at the same time that the rest of this farm has fully reset. And the end result of all of this is an extremely rapid amount of planting. Now, mind you, this whole time I'm activating this dropper, it would be shooting me a fungus to go and grow. You want at least 45 stacks, fill up an entire double chest. AV Nexus has a really good fungus farm. As I'm sitting here growing, it's going to one stem at a time. That one stem is getting pushed up and out. Let's clear these out. By delaying the timing to once every 8 times, it saves me on a lot of TNT. And by consolidating this one block stream into a 3-1 up top and then pushing it forward, it makes sure that there's enough there that it's all going to get taken out, and I'm not going to end up getting backlogged or jammed on anything. So we'll fire this a few times. The growth rate's going to vary a little bit. I'm already out of bone meal. Again, we just went through a stack in each one of those that fast. And notice how this is pushing around. This will feed into the left. By the time it gets to here, the TNT is going to dispense and drop. It's going to take out, if you look, like nothing's really building up in here. And then I'm getting all these blocks coming right here. So that's farm is done. What I suggest doing for item collection is I tried a hopper line. It doesn't work. It backs up too much. This exceeds 9,000 items an hour by the time you take into account. So we're going to let that just slide off. Have it round the corner. Toss down a button. And then from there, you're just going to build a standard item hopper with another water source right here. And then you're going to have a line of hoppers with item filters to pull out your wart blocks, your Shroomlights if you want, and your stems. Otherwise, you're going to need a bunch of storage here because this thing is going to make around 8 shulkers worth of wart blocks an hour. I compost all of mine and then feed it back into the bone meal system because, again, it's a hog. This already went through a lot. It went through that one stack in about a few plants. It's going to consume a massive amount of bone meal. See, there's a little left in that one, but the farm breaks because there's none left in that one. Having 2 of them speeds it up because, again, I'm cutting off a whole lot of those big tree growths, but it still wastes the bone meal. And then this stays clear the entire time. If you want additional... Again, not much TNT used. If you want additional, I've built it low enough so that if you really want to just have way extra storage, you do have room here to drop a hopper down and a chest that right at layer 20 because you can't go any higher. World height. Right here with this, if you want to put this in for even more TNT storage up top. And then I just have some scaffolding running on a platform running all the way up. So again, that's it. This is the terrible tutorial, Shulker Shroomlight farm. Have your item filters. You know what? Here, let's go over here where I have a decent item filter set up. Again, same setup. I have all the water running in and then getting pulled out. where I go and pull out all these wart blocks, have them running into composters, and then feeding around into a chest to recycle some of that bone meal, while everything else just comes in here. Start off at layer 303, and then, if you can tolerate my meandering as I put this together. Hope this helps somebody. There is a world download available on the Technical Bedrock Archive. Or Silent Whispers, I posted it there as well. Shroomlight's forever. Old Rusty out!